Down on the Plains, Auburn's first and second units going through a 60-play scrimmage inside of Jordan-Hare Stadium yesterday. Gus Malzahn was impressed with the efforts that his players gave during the session, but he's concerned about the penalties and mistakes that were made in this third scrimmage. This week, Auburn will prepare for Kentucky, but during that time, Coach Malzahn and his staff, they've got to deal with additional positive COVID-19 tests among the team.
We had a total of 10 players total that were out with COVID-related issues, and 5 of those were starters. So, as it gets closer, obviously, that's a concern, being 2 weeks out with everything that goes with that.